Alright, now the most important thing you should know getting ready for competition is that you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And you have to have a good attitude either way. When you win a game, you're going to feel great. You have to be a good sport. You don't want to mock your opponent. And when you lose a game, you don't want to run off and be an idiot about it. You have to be a good sport as well. Now, when you lose a chess game or you lose a basketball game or a baseball game, you can learn a lot from it. And the best attitude to have is to take loss as an opportunity to learn. And in fact, the first national championship that I ever played, I was ranked #1 in the tournament. And in the last round, I was in the first board playing for first place, and I lost that game. My opponent was David Arnett. I was 8 years old, and he actually later became my best friend. We were best friends for many, many years, and we went to the same school, Dalton, and were teammates for a long time. And I'm going to show you that first game, and I want you to think about the fact that the first time I competed for first place in the Nationals, I lost. And I had to spend the whole next year working, trying to build myself up, and the next year I won it. And that was what the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer was based on, the year after I lost this national championship. So this game played in 1985, first board of the Nationals. Last round for all the money. I was white. I played e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and here my opponent played knight d4. Strange move, and not a very good move, but it's a trap. It's known as the costage. And in fact, I had seen this move before, but I didn't remember it. You have to understand we were both only 8 years old. And when your opponent plays a really surprising move that they have prepared in the opening, you got to be very careful. And here he's hanging a pawn. So in this type of situation, when you don't know what to do, you have to think about it. Probably the best thing to do here is just to play a completely normal move, like a castle. I develop my pieces. He's moved one piece 2 times in the opening, which is a rule is not such a great thing to do. Usually you want to move each piece 1 time. For instance, the most natural moves after in this position is either for him to bring his bishop out to c5 or his knight out to f6. You only want to move things 1 time so you can get your development done as soon as possible and try to take control of the center. But in this game he played knight d4, and here I saw that a pawn was hanging, and I immediately took it. He played queen g5, and already I'm in big trouble. My knight on e5 is hanging, and if I move, my pawn on g2 is also hanging. And imagine his queen coming, if I move back to f3 for example, his queen coming down to g2. Now my knight on f3 is hanging, my rook on h1 is hanging. I'm in huge trouble. You might have noticed that I have the idea of playing bishop takes f7 check. That's true, but after he moves his king, for example, to e7, white is still in very big trouble. Now my bishop will be hanging once the knight moves, and also the pawn on g2 is hanging. My position is falling apart already. And also I have the possibility of playing knight takes f7. But then after queen takes g2, once again, black is really giving me a hard time. My rook is hanging, and if I move it to be defended, after his move like knight f3 check, I have huge problems. My king has to come to e2 and he'll get a big attack. We don't want this to happen in a chess game. So already after queen g5, I'm in big trouble. Probably the most practical thing for me to do would be to first of all take his pawn. He would move. And then just to castle. I say, alright, you're right, I lose a piece. He would play queen takes e5. And now his king would be on e7. I'd have 2 pawns for a piece. Maybe I'm worse, but I could play this position. It's actually not so bad for white at all. But you probably know the feeling of if you play baseball or if you play soccer. Once you make a big mistake, once you strike out, for example, you feel bad and you can tend to make a second mistake and a third mistake. Lots of mistakes in a row. And that's what I did here. You know, I was already a pretty good chess player at this point, but when my emotions got the better of me, I made too many mistakes in a row. My knight was attacked, my pawn was attacked, I tried to defend everything, I brought my knight back to g4. See what black can play now? David made a strong central move, he played d5. And already I'm in huge trouble. My bishop is attacked, but his trick is that now his bishop has a discovered attack on my knight on g4. There's very little I can do now. I played bishop takes d5, and he played bishop takes g4. I've lost a piece. Can you believe it? I'm playing for the national championship and already I lost a piece. I never even had a chance in this game. I tried to defend my queen with f3. David simply went back, bishop d7. And now I have to defend my pawn on g2. And I made another bad move. I played rook g1. Probably the best move would be to simply move my king over to f1, try to defend it that way. But I played rook g1. David was unrelenting. He played queen h4 check. I'm in huge trouble. I played king f1. He played queen takes h2. Can you believe it? I'm down a piece and my king is badly placed. My dark squares around my king are in big trouble. I'm pretty much losing. The game ended like this. I played bishop takes b7, attacking his rook. He just moved away. I played bishop back to d5. And now he started with his mating idea. He played bishop c5. My position is completely lost already. I played b4, kind of a last-ditch effort to try to confuse him. If he plays bishop takes b4 now, I would play c3. I was resorting to little tricks now. My position is so bad. He just played rook takes b4, no problem. And here I tried the fork, c3. David just went back, knight c6. Now he's threatening the g1 rook. I played c takes b4. And here he finished me off with queen takes g1, king e2. Knight takes b4. Now I made a move which doesn't do anything. I played d3. You see mate and 1 for black? Queen f2 checkmate. And it's all over. So this is a strange game. This was the first time I ever played in the national championship. And I lost the game. And I tell you, it was a heartbreaker. Everyone expected me to win this game. But, you know, he got the better of me with this good trap. Now I spent the next year studying chess really hard, working very hard. And I was able to make a comeback. And if you've seen the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, you remember the nationals that I won. And that was the year after this game. It's very important to know that when you see movies, sometimes you think that the guy who's the hero of the story just wins every game. That isn't the case. Every great champion has to come back from defeat. So if you lose a game, don't think it's the end of the world. Just learn from your defeat. Know that even Michael Jordan has lost lots of games. Come back, get stronger, and don't forget, always be a good sport.